What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. With the recent release of Yveltal in Pokemon Go, a lot of people are curious about this Pokemon, as well as other Dark-type Pokemon in Pokemon Go. Which Pokemon are the best Dark types? That's actually what we're going to be covering in today's episode. But secondarily, to make it a little bit different and valuable for a larger audience, what I'm going to be doing is taking a look at these Pokemon from the raid perspective, and I'm going to be breaking it down into the top budget options, top non-legendary options, top overall, top shadow, and top mega, as well as PvP. So I'm thinking this is going to be a really fun series to do. And of course, if you do enjoy it, if you do find it valuable, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. So let's go ahead and start this list off first with the top budget options. And the first Pokemon that I'm going to be talking about is Houndoom. So Houndoom is relatively accessible in Pokemon Go. It's just a 2 evolution line Pokemon family, so it's only going to cost you 50 candy in Pokemon Go to get yourself a Houndoom. So as far as that is concerned, it's definitely looking good from a budget perspective. So then when we go ahead and get into the stats, we can see that its overall stat ranking compared to the dark type options is 17th out of 59, so definitely looking good from that perspective. Secondarily, we can see individually that its attack stat is looking good, stamina stat looking good, and defense is looking at least okay, but the main point is that its stats don't necessarily have any red flags. Secondarily, we can go ahead and take a look at another huge benefit for Houndoom, which is really helping it kind of hang into the pack with some other Pokemon, is its moveset. It's got Snarl and Foul Play, which is the most ideal from a raid side. So because of this, we've got Houndoom that has pretty good stats, and then of course, we've got Houndoom that has a very good moveset. And we're actually going to be having some Pokemon later on in this video that are going to have kind of the flip situation where they have some incredible stats, but not necessarily the most ideal moveset. So it's really going to be a battle of the two to see which ones are going to actually win out. So of course, we can go ahead and dive into the second budget option. Now this is not going to be as much of a budget option compared to Houndoom, but I still think it could be classified as a budget option. So Weavile, the biggest barrier to entry was the Sinnoh Stone, but the Sinnoh Stone has become so much more readily available. If you go ahead and play some PvP, you're bound to get one in just a couple of sets. So Weavile, not so much, or more, becomes more of a budget Pokemon than what it was in the past. But regardless of that, if we go ahead and take a look at the stats, we can see that Weavile is ranked 13th overall compared to those dark types, so a little bit of an improvement against Houndoom. As far as its stat that's really carrying it, that's going to be the attack stat. With an attack stat of 243, that's ranked at 12th compared to the dark types. Defense stat also looking good, and then stamina stat is looking at least okay. So secondarily, we also have the benefit of having an incredible moveset of Snarl and Foul Play. So Weavile has a little bit better stats than Houndoom, and it also has the ideal moveset. So definitely looking good for Weavile, especially from one of those top budget options. So now let's go ahead and get into the top non-legendary options. Forget the budget. Budget is out of the window. Hydreigon, for example, if you, for example, got the pre-evolution dino in an egg, it would be at level 20, so it could be relatively expensive to go ahead and power it up. But we've got Hydreigon. As far as its stats are concerned, it's actually ranked at 5th compared to those other dark type Pokemon. And as far as its stats are concerned, I mean, just check this out. It is just looking so solid compared to all of these. And then secondarily, we can see that its best stat is its attack stat. So looking good from that regard. So anyways, let's go ahead and talk a little bit further about this Pokemon. Unfortunately for Hydreigon, we can see that the quick move is Bite, and then of course we've got Dark Pulse, so it's not necessarily the most ideal moveset that you would want to have for a dark type attacker. Secondarily though, Hydreigon has an incredible set of stats, so it's of course a little bit of a balance, and then typing even comes into it as well, as far as what Pokemon you want to use it against. So by the way, I think I should go ahead and mention this, but what I'm going to do after I cover all of these Pokemon individually is I'm actually going to go ahead and showcase all of the raid results where you can see all of them kind of stacked up together and just kind of see how the mix ends up happening across a multitude of raids. So now that we have that covered, let's go ahead and dive into the second non-legendary option, and that's going to be Tyranitar. So of course for Tyranitar, because its secondary typing is dark, we're actually going to be looking down at the bottom of the screen here. So we can see that Tyranitar from a dark typing, it's actually ranked at 3rd overall as far as the dark types are concerned. And then as far as its stats are concerned, we've got the attack stat where it's ranked at 8th. And then of course we can see that the stamina stat is ranked at 5th and defense stat ranked 6th. My lord, this Pokemon is looking so good, and it's so consistent across all 3 of the stats. So that's just absolutely incredible. But regardless of that, what we need to do now is of course consider in the moveset. So unfortunately for Tyranitar, it actually doesn't have the most ideal moveset from the dark typing of Bite as well as Crunch. So what's basically happening with Tyranitar is it's a Pokemon that just has an incredible set of stats, but technically it has been held back from the moveset. So I would love to see Tyranitar get another community day, but it instead be focused on the dark typing, or at least get access to a new dark type move. Who knows? I think it would make a lot of sense, especially because we've got the Mega Tyranitar that could come out eventually in the game. I could see Niantic saying, you know what, let's have Mega Tyranitar come out, and why not go ahead and do a community day as well. And if it was focused from the dark typing, oh yeah, Tyranitar and just in general is going to be impressive from just the regular form as well as the Mega form. And it's definitely a Pokemon that you want to make sure that you have at least covered once, twice, if not thrice, from the dark typing. So let's go ahead and get on to the next option now. We're getting into just the top attackers where it's just all bets are off. Doesn't matter if they're legendary, mythical, non-legendary, just doesn't matter. We've got Yveltal. So Yveltal has an overall ranking of 4th compared to other dark type Pokemon, and it has an attack stat of 250, so that's relatively close compared to that Tyranitar that we covered. But Yveltal's biggest asset is going to be its stamina, ranked in at 1st, so that means it's going to be able to stay in the fight compared to some of these other options that we've seen. So it has the highest stamina stat among those dark type Pokemon. Then of course, when we take a look at the moveset, we can see that it has the move Snarl, which is great. And then we've got Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse, not necessarily the greatest move that you want to have, but Yveltal's almost the perfect case scenario where it has a great set of stats and a great moveset, but unfortunately I think Dark Pulse holds it back just a little bit. And then of course that attack stat, it's going to be competing against some other options that are going to be a little bit higher. So that's actually what we're going to take a look at next, and that is Darkrai. So Darkrai, easily one of the best options as far as these dark type attackers are concerned, and it really comes down to that attack stat. Check that attack stat out. That's just absolutely insane. So an attack stat of 285, that's going to be ranked at 6 as far as the other dark type Pokemon are concerned. You can see that it has an overall ranking of 7th as far as the dark types are concerned. And then secondarily, it does have the move Snarl, and then it's got Dark Pulse, which is a pretty good move. But I think that the dominant factor for why Darkrai is doing so good compared to these other Pokemon is very clear that it is its attack stat. But at the same time though, we can of course have a conversation between Darkrai and Yveltal. Which one's better? I don't think that there's a way for us to dispute that. I think that Darkrai is clearly the better better Pokemon, but that does not mean that everyone has the option to get themselves a Darkrai, or that it means that it's going to be the best option for you. For example, Yveltal, because it isn't a mythical Pokemon, it is able to be traded, and potentially you could get yourself a lucky Yveltal. If you end up doing that, it's going to have so much more value as far as the cost is concerned compared to a Pokemon like Darkrai. And then secondarily, it's currently available in raids. So if you weren't playing while Darkrai was in raids, then do you really have a choice? But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Yveltal's the second top option, so it's definitely still an incredible Pokemon. I just want to point that out because I see a lot of debate about it, and people saying, I'm not going to raid Yveltal because it's second best. Well, maybe you should reconsider it. It's still a solid option. Now we can go ahead and get into the top Mega Pokemon. So as far as the top Mega Pokemon are concerned, they're going to have the uniqueness of, firstly, they could be incredible attackers on their own as far as raids are concerned, but then secondarily, they do end up adding on the damage boost for the different typings that it has. So that is something to for sure keep in mind. So by the way, keep in mind that we've got Mega Gyarados here, so that's going to be the dark typing at the bottom here. So these are going to be the stat rankings that we take a look at. We can see that as far as the overall rankings are concerned, it is ranked at 2nd overall. By the way, there can be ties in this case. So it's ranked at 2nd overall, and we can see that its attack stat is ranked at 3rd at 292. That is just insane for this Pokemon. It also has an incredible defense stat, and it also has an incredible stamina stat. So Mega Gyarados can stay in the fight. It can also put out a lot of damage. So it's like the ideal Mega Pokemon that you want to have. But keeping in mind that it technically gets held back a little bit by Bite and Crunch. So if you end up seeing Mega Gyarados getting access to a new moveset where it gets upgraded as far as those dark types are concerned, it's going to be lights out. Mega Gyarados, there's not going to be much of a conversation really to even have. Now, as far as another top Mega option from the dark typing, we've got Mega Houndoom. So Mega Houndoom is going to be ranked 5th overall out of those dark type options. Its attack stat is ranked at 4th at 289. That's just insane. Its defense stat is also looking good, and its stamina stat is looking pretty good. But regardless of all of that, what we can see is, as far as its quick move is concerned, we've got Snarl, and then of course we got Foul Play like we talked about earlier. And having the most ideal moveset affords Houndoom, well, of course, with a better attack stat, it just makes it that much better of an option. And because it is so easy to obtain as far as just the regular Houndoom is concerned, Mega Houndoom is a budget Mega to some extent, but then secondarily, it also performs well. So it is just an incredible Pokemon as far as the Mega types are concerned. So anyways, we can go ahead and briefly cover this. We've got the top shadow options where we've got Houndoom. We've already talked about Houndoom. Of course, the stats aren't going to change, but the attack bonus and then the defense multipliers do change a little bit. So it, of course, becomes a little bit more of a glass cannon. And then, of course, we've got the Shadow Tyranitar. I'm jealous of anybody with a Shadow Tyranitar. This is an option that I really wanted to get. Such a solid Pokemon from not only the dark typing, but as well as the rock typing. So as you can see with the rock type, we've got an overall ranking of 2nd. So yes, that is just incredible. Hopefully you did enjoy that. And then as far as the actual raids are concerned, you can go ahead and kind of take a look here where you can see Mega Houndoom is just crushing it against that Mega Bayonet. Gyarados looking great. And then we've got Darkrai here, Shadow Houndoom here, Yveltal, and then of course like Tyranitar going up against this Mega Bayonet. So we're seeing quite a bit of those Pokemon. And then of course when we go ahead and head over to another option, you can see that we've got Mega Houndoom still holding in at that top, and then of course Mega Gyarados as well. And then you can see Shadow Tyranitar pushing up a little bit. So hopefully you're kind of getting the point in this video, and you're seeing the different options that we have here as far as those dark types are concerned, because I'm definitely excited about that. So anyways, we can go ahead and take a look at the top PvP just briefly. We've got Sableye in the Great League, but that's going to be an XL version. You're also going to have to purify it to get yourself access to return. We got Scrafty as a solid option, and then Mandibuzz. So with these Pokemon being added in, it actually shifted Umbreon a little bit lower in the ranks for the Great League. So that's why you don't see Umbreon on the screen. And then of course, when we go ahead and head over to the next option, when we go into Ultra League, we can see that Mandibuzz is holding in at that 10th position. And then Umbreon with XL, and of course the exclusive move Last Resort in the Ultra League, ends up being ranked at 11. So yeah, that's definitely going to be a solid option. So if you're interested in PvP, those are going to be the top options that you want to have. But anyways, I hope you did enjoy this episode. This was a ton of fun to make. I think there's a lot of value for this. We can, of course, cover all of the other types in Pokemon Go, but I want to know what you think about this episode in the comment section below. What do you think about the format that I use, covering the different types of Pokemon, you know, from a Mega, non-legendary, budget, that sort of thing, because I'm trying to provide value to anyone and everyone. So anyways, if you do enjoy the episode, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. If you want to support the channel, feel free to check out the Patreon tier, the link in the description. I actually just added on a new Discord server where we talk about Pokemon Go, we coordinate for raids, and then of course we share friend codes. So if you're interested in supporting the channel as well as connecting with other Pokemon Go players, make sure to check out the link in the description, and I will see you next time.